Catherine, 27, stands in the doorway of her modest Seattle apartment. Rain streaking the windows, a small Christmas tree flickering in the corner, its lights a quiet, fragile reminder of the season she's always cherished. As the eldest child, she has spent years striving to earn her parents' approval, working long hours as a graphic designer, calling home weekly, swallowing her frustrations to keep the peace. Her family, scattered across Washington state, has always been a tangled web. Linda, her mother, sharp-tongued and controlling. Robert, her father, reserved yet acquiescent. And Michael, her 24-year-old brother, the golden child who could do no wrong. Catherine's used to the imbalance. Michael's whims indulged, her efforts overlooked. But Christmas, she thought, was sacred, the one time they'd all come together. And speaking of togetherness, I just want to take a quick moment to thank all of you for being here. This channel is so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers, and your support truly means the world to me. If you've been enjoying these stories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep these stories coming. Now, let's get back to her story. But this year, everything is about to change. A single revelation will shatter the illusion she has held onto for so long, turning her world upside down and forcing her to question everything she thought she knew about her family. Linda and Robert raised them in a middle-class home, an old craftsman in Tacoma, filled with memories of tense dinners, unspoken rules. Finances were their domain, tightly guarded, never discussed openly. Catherine grew up hearing, "Money's tight, Cat. Work hard, make your own way," a mantra she took to heart, building her life without handouts. Michael, though, floated through. New clothes, a car at 16, rent-free living in their basement even now. She'd asked Linda about it once, why the disparity? And got a curt, "He needs more help, you're fine." Catherine let it slide, assumed it was just favoritism, not something darker. Her grandparents' estate, a vague promise of inheritance after their passing a decade ago, was never mentioned again. Linda brushed it off, "It's tied up, don't worry." Catherine clings to Christmas, a rare chance, she believes, to reclaim some semblance of family. She'd drive hours from Seattle to Tacoma every December, bearing gifts, baking cookies, ignoring Linda's critiques of her city life. Robert would nod silently, Michael would grin and take, and for a day, she'd feel connected. March 2025 finds her planning again, texting Linda about the menu, confirming dates, her heart lifting at the thought of the holiday. She's weathered their quirks, Michael's endless bragging, Linda's subtle jabs, because this tradition mattered, a thread tying her to a family that often felt distant. She sends a group text, "Can't wait for Christmas, see you all soon." Linda replies, "Looking forward to it, dear," and Catherine smiles. Trusting, hopeful, unaware of the storm brewing beneath their promises. But cracks have always been there, small, ignored. She recalls Linda's excuses, why they couldn't help with her college loans, why Michael's needs always trumped hers. Robert's quiet agreement, his avoidance of her questions about money. It's been a pattern, one she's excused as parental bias. Now, alone in her apartment, she decorates, strings lights, hums carols, counting down to December 24th, believing this year will mend the gaps. She doesn't know yet, her family's unity is a facade, her place in it a lie, and Christmas 2025 will unravel everything she's held dear. December 23rd dawns cold. Catherine wakes to a gray Seattle morning, her phone buzzing with a text from Linda, "Big snowstorm coming. Roads are a mess, sweetie. Christmas is off this year. Stay safe, we'll all hunker down." Her heart sinks, disappointment washes over her, sharp, familiar. She checks the weather. Tacoma's forecast shows flurries, nothing severe, but trusts Linda's word. "They've never cancelled before," she mutters, staring at the screen. "But storms can change plans, I suppose." She replies, "So sorry to miss it. Stay warm, love you all." Linda sends back a quick, "You too, dear," and Catherine settles in, resigned, picturing a quiet Christmas alone with takeout, Netflix. Christmas Eve passes. Rain taps her windows, no snow in sight. She shrugs it off, weather's unpredictable, she reasons, and scrolls Instagram, seeking distraction. Then a message pings, Sophie, her old college friend, "Hey, saw this, everything okay?" Attached is a photo, Catherine's breath catches. Linda, Robert, Michael, gathered around a festooned table, laughing, toasting, a full Christmas spread before them. Her chest tightens. She zooms in, sees the Tacoma dining room, the tree she helped decorate last year, no trace of a storm. They're together, without her, despite the text, the excuse. She stares, numb, disbelief giving way to a cold, sinking realization. Sophie texts again, "Thought you'd be there, didn't they tell you?" Catherine's hands shake. No, they didn't tell her, they lied. She scrolls Michael's profile, more pics, posted hours ago, best Christmas yet, family time. Her parents' beaming faces, Michael's arm around Linda, no mention of her absence. Rage simmers, then grief, raw, overwhelming. She'd believed them, bought the storm story, mourned a cancelled holiday, while they celebrated, deliberately cutting her out. She calls Sophie, voice breaking, "They lied. They're all there having Christmas like I don't exist." Sophie's quiet, then firm, "That's awful, Kat. I didn't know. What are you going to do?" Catherine doesn't answer, can't yet, but the question lodges deep. She replays Linda's text, calculated, convincing, and sees it for what it is, a betrayal, not a fluke. They didn't forget her. They excluded her, crafted a story to keep her away. Her family's warmth, her place at their table. It was a mirage, and the truth, stark, undeniable, sets her on a path she can't unchoose. Catherine sits frozen. Sophie's photo still glowing on her screen, her family's laughter a silent, piercing taunt. The sting of Christmas fades into something broader. Memories flood back, moments she dismissed as quirks now aligning into a pattern of exclusion. Her birthdays, quiet affairs, a card if she was lucky, while Michael's were spectacles, catered parties, Linda boasting, "Our boy deserves the best." She'd paid her own way through college, loans piling up, while Michael got a free ride, Robert muttering, "We're stretched thin, Kat." Thin for her, never for him. She digs deeper, recalls Linda's evasions about money, no savings to spare, even as Michael drove a new SUV, lived rent-free. The inheritance, her grandparents' modest estate, a topic Robert shut down. "It's complicated, don't ask," suddenly looms large, heavy with questions. She trusted their narrative, assumed fairness despite the signs. But now, with Christmas as proof, doubt hardens into suspicion. Were they hiding more, financial secrets, a legacy she was meant to share? Her parents' control, Michael's privilege. It wasn't bias, it was deliberate, a system rigged against her. She grabs old journals, scribbled frustrations from years past, asked Dad for help with rent, said no, but Michael got a new TV. Mom cancelled my graduation dinner. Michael had a big game. The evidence mounts, small slights, consistent favoritism, a lifetime of being sidelined. Anger rises, hot, justified, but beneath it, pain cuts deeper. Her family didn't just forget her this Christmas, they erased her, year by year. She texts Sophie, "This isn't new, they've done this forever." Sophie replies, "Check their finances, something's off, I'd bet." Catherine resolves to investigate. Logs into shared accounts from childhood, finds nothing but echoes of Linda's oversight. She calls Robert, voice steady, "Why'd you lie about Christmas?" He stammers, It was last minute, Kat, we didn't mean." She cuts him off, "You meant it, I saw the pictures." Silence, then Linda grabs the phone, "Don't make a fuss, you're overreacting, Catherine." Overreacting? The word ignites her. She hangs up, heart pounding. This isn't a misunderstanding, it's a betrayal spanning decades, and she's done accepting it. She needs answers, about Christmas, about the money, about her place in this family, and she'll unearth them, no matter what it costs. Catherine sits at her Seattle kitchen table, laptop open, coffee cold, Sophie's words echoing in her mind, "Check their finances, something's off." The Christmas lie still burns, her family's cozy celebration without her, but now, suspicion drives her deeper. She starts with the bank, First National, where her grandparents' trust fund, meant for her education, was held. She hasn't checked it in years, trusted Linda and Robert's vague assurances, "It's safe, Kat, don't worry." Armed with old account numbers from a dusty file, she calls customer service, voice steady, insistent, "I need the full history, please, everything." The clerk hesitates, "You're listed as a beneficiary, ma'am, I'll send the records." The email arrives that afternoon. Catherine opens it, scans the summary, freezes. The account, once holding $150,000 from her grandparents' estate, is empty, balance $0, drained over a decade, starting when she was 17. Her stomach churns. She scrolls through transactions, each a stab of betrayal. $20,000 in 2015, $50,000 in 2018, smaller withdrawals peppered across years, the last $30,000 pulled in 2022. Authorized by Linda and Robert. Her parents' names, their signatures, no mention of her consent. She cross-checks dates, 2018, when Michael got his SUV, 2022, his rent-free remodel of their basement. Her inheritance, her future, funneled into her brother's life, without a whisper to her. She digs further, requests detailed statements, uncovers a paper trail of deceit. The funds meant for her college, her start in life, gone, redirected to family expenses, Linda's notes scrawled in margins, for M's needs, urgent. Urgent? Catherine paid her own tuition, worked nights, borrowed $40,000 in loans, while they claimed poverty. She recalls Linda's excuses, "We're broke, Cat, can't help," even as Michael flaunted new gadgets, bragged about family support. Rage builds, hot, righteous, but beneath it, a hollow ache. They didn't just exclude her from Christmas, they stole her legacy, her grandparents' gift, piece by piece. Catherine phones Sophie, voice shaking, "It's worse than I thought. They took everything, Soph, hundreds of thousands, all gone." Sophie's quiet, then firm, "That's inheritance fraud, Cat, illegal, despicable." "What now?" Catherine stares at the records, each line a lie, each withdrawal a wound. "I need proof," she says, "hard evidence, then I confront them." She spends days gathering, bank calls, notary visits, photocopies of every damning page. The truth crystallizes, not just favoritism, not just exclusion, but a calculated theft, a betrayal spanning years. She's not their daughter in this, they've made her an outsider, and now, armed with facts, she'll demand answers. Catherine drives to Tacoma, rain-slicked roads, her old Honda humming with purpose, the bank statements clutched in a folder on the passenger seat. It's December 27th, 2 days after their secret Christmas, the air still heavy with unspoken lies. She walks into the Craftsman house, Linda in the kitchen, Robert on the couch, Michael sprawled with a beer, unannounced, unyielding. She drops the folder on the table, voice firm, "We need to talk, about the money, about my inheritance." Catherine opens the folder, spreads the statements, points to the totals, "This money, $150,000 from Grandma and Grandpa, for me, for my education. It's gone, all of it, and you took it." Linda stiffens, eyes narrowing, "You don't understand, dear. Family needed it, tough times. You are grown. You've managed fine." Catherine's jaw tightens, her mother's calm, dismissive tone fueling her anger. "Managed fine," she repeats. "I worked myself raw loans, late shifts, while you funneled my future into Michael's car, his rent, his life." Michael smirks, leans back, casual, "It's done, Cat, used for better things. Why you gotta make a big deal out of it?" His arrogance snaps something. She turns to him, voice rising, "Better things? My grandparents left that for me, not you, not your toys. You don't get to laugh this off." Robert shifts, finally looks up, but won't meet her eyes, mumbling, "We didn't mean to hurt you, Cat, it just happened over time." "Hurt me?" She fires back, "You didn't just hurt me, you stole from me, lied to me, cut me out while pretending we're a family." Linda steps in, voice cold, "You're ungrateful, always have been. We kept this house running, kept Michael stable. You never needed coddling, you're strong." Catherine laughs, bitter, incredulous, "Strong because I had to be, because you gave me nothing, while he got everything. This stops now, I'm done being your scapegoat." Robert reaches out, tentative, "Cat, let's talk it out, no need to escalate." She pulls back, "Escalate? You escalated this, years ago, when you chose him over me. I'm not staying quiet anymore, you'll answer for this." Catherine decides returning to Seattle, mind racing, determination burning. She lays out the evidence, bank statements, transaction logs, Linda's handwritten notes, each piece a brick in her case. Sophie meets her that night. Coffee shop, quiet corner, "You're really doing this, suing them?" Catherine nods, firm, unwavering, "They stole my inheritance, lied for years. I can't let this slide." Sophie flips through the papers and says, "Rock-solid inheritance fraud, they're done for." She organizes relentlessly. Days spent with a notary, certifying documents, nights poring over legal forums. Reddit's r/family drama threads offering tips. Get a lawyer, file fast, don't back down. She finds one, Ellen Carter, a Tacoma attorney with a knack for estate disputes. Meets her in a sleek office, January 2026. Ellen reviews the files. Nods, this is theft, misappropriation of a trust fund, potentially forgery if signatures were falsified. We can win this, civil suit, full restitution. Catherine exhales, relief mixing with dread, I'm ready, but they're my family. Ellen's gaze softens, steady, family doesn't do this, Catherine, you're reclaiming what's yours. The complaint is filed, Pierce County Court, Catherine versus Linda and Robert, for fraudulent diversion of inheritance assets. She requests $150,000, plus interest, legal fees. Her hands tremble as she signs, but her resolve holds. Word reaches Tacoma fast. Linda calls, voice shrill, a lawsuit? You're dragging us through this, over money. You don't get to play victim. Robert tries next, pleading, Cat, this'll ruin us, think of Michael. She cuts him off, you should have thought of me, years ago. Michael texts, you are crazy, tearing us apart. Linda spreads rumors church friends hear Catherine's greedy, Robert's heartbroken. But the evidence stands, undeniable, damning, and Ellen prepares her, they'll fight dirty, but we've got the truth. Catherine braces, alone but not weak, for a legal battle that will expose it all. The Pierce County Courthouse buzzes, February 2026, a packed gallery, tension thick as the judge calls the case. Catherine versus Linda and Robert, inheritance fraud and misappropriation. Catherine sits beside Ellen Carter, her attorney poised, unflinching, hands clasped, heart steady despite the weight of facing her family in this sterile room. Ellen rises, voice clear, commanding, Your Honor, my client's grandparents left her a trust fund, $150,000, for her education, her future. But her parents, the defendants, drained it, every cent, over years without her knowledge or consent. She lays out the evidence, bank statements, forged authorizations, Linda's notes directing funds to Michael. Each piece a brick in an unassailable wall. The gallery shifts. Neighbors, relatives, once loyal to Linda's tales, now murmur as Ellen projects transactions on a screen. $50,000 for Michael's SUV, $30,000 for his basement remodel, smaller sums bleeding out since Catherine was a teen. This isn't mismanagement, it's theft, Ellen declares, deliberate, calculated, hidden behind lies of poverty while Catherine struggled alone. Linda takes the stand, chin high, eyes glistening with rehearsed tears. I only did what was best for the family, Your Honor, times were hard, we needed it. Her voice trembles, pathetic, pleading, but the judge's gaze remains cold, unmoved, piercing through her act. You told Catherine there was no money, yet funded Michael's every whim. Explain these signatures. Hers aren't here, only yours and Robert's. Linda falters, stammers, we thought she'd manage, she's strong. The judge cuts in, sharp, strength doesn't justify fraud, Mrs. Linda. Answer the question. Catherine exhales, justice hard won, hers at last. Did you know? Michael's called, struts up, defiant until Ellen strikes, you benefited, car, rent, lifestyle, all from her money. Did you know? He shrugs, cool, dismissive, Mom said it was ours, I didn't ask. The judge's eyes narrow, his nonchalance damning him. Ellen closes, firm, they robbed Catherine, of her inheritance, her trust, while pretending to be family. We seek full restitution, $150,000, plus interest and fees. The ruling comes, judge's voice firm, defendants guilty. Linda and Robert misappropriated the plaintiff's trust, aided by Michael's knowing benefit. Full repayment ordered, $175,000, including interest, or face further penalties. Catherine exhales, justice, hard won, hers at last. Michael's privilege, stripped, his inheritance claim voided by the court, leaves him glaring, exposed. Linda sobs, Robert slumps, Michael fumes, but Catherine stands, tall, steady, watching their facade collapse. Ellen squeezes her shoulder, you did it, they can't hide anymore. The truth, exposed, undeniable, sets her free, a victory not just of money, but of reclaiming her worth. The verdict shatters what remains. Linda and Robert face a $175,000 debt, payable within months, or risk lien on their home, a penalty for their greed. The family fractures. Irreparable, raw. Linda's influence evaporates. Church friends turn away, relatives whisper about her disgrace, her once proud control reduced to desperate pleas for loans she'll never repay. Robert retreats, silent, broken, spending days in the garage, avoiding the wreckage he helped create. Michael, stripped of his financial cushion, loses his swagger, blames his parents. You messed this up, why'd you drag me into it? His basement lease ends. Linda can't afford it now, and he storms out, bitterness his only inheritance. Robert tries once, meets Catherine at a Tacoma diner, voice soft, "Cat, I messed up, I know. Can we fix this? You're still my girl." She looks at him, his eyes pleading, once her anchor, then speaks calm, "You had years to fix it, Dad. Every time I asked, every lie you let slide. I'm done waiting for you to choose me." He nods, tears welling, no rebuttal, and she walks away, leaving his regret behind. The house, once her tether, holds no pull now, its walls echoing with deceit she'll never unhear. Catherine moves on, packs her Seattle apartment, relocates to a quieter place near the Puget Sound, a rental she funds herself. She cuts ties, no more calls, no more guilt, freeing herself from their manipulation, their control. The family's collapse, painful, inevitable, proves her strength, a liberation forged through betrayal's fire. Sophie texts, "Proud you're out, you're finally free." Catherine smiles, bittersweet, true, knowing she's shed their shadow for good. Spring 2026 blooms. Catherine receives the $175,000, a check deposited into an account solely hers. She invests it, wisely, deliberately, $50,000 into a master's program in design, her dream deferred by loans now within reach. The rest, savings, a cushion, secures her future, a foundation her grandparents intended, reclaimed at last. She enrolls that fall, University of Washington, classes brimming with possibility. Her nights once spent scraping by now filled with study growth. She thrives, independent, unburdened, building a life on her terms, not theirs. Reflecting, she sees it clear. Family isn't always blood, isn't the name you're born with. It's the people who respect you, who value your place. Linda, Robert, Michael. They failed that, their lies and theft a lesson in what family shouldn't be. Sophie becomes her rock. Lunches turn to laughter, support unwavering. Joined by new friends, colleagues who see her for her talent, her grit. She keeps a photo, her grandparents, faded but warm, on her desk, a reminder of the legacy she fought for, the love that outlasted deceit. Catherine walks campus, Puget Sound shimmering nearby, feeling lighter, stronger. The money returned, pales next to what she's gained, freedom, self-worth, a future unshackled from manipulation. Her family's collapse, once a wound, now fuels her, proof she can rise above. She's not the daughter they discarded, she's the woman who exposed it all, and in that truth, she's found her real home. Stepping into Catherine's life, I felt the sting of my family's lies, their Christmas exclusion, the theft of my $150,000 inheritance. The first lesson hits hard: don't let anyone manipulate you, not even family. Linda, Robert, Michael, they twisted my trust, took what was mine, but I learned to break free, to stand firm. The truth, though buried under years of deceit, will surface. You just need the strength to unearth it. I dug deep, bank records, courtroom battles, and exposed their fraud, proving resilience pays off.